Hey guys, Paul here, and this is another video update for Void Destroyer 2. So I've been doing a lot of little things, little cool things, in my opinion. Pretty excited about them. I'll share them with you right now. If you recall, when early into early access, so about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever it was, I put in this fuel mechanic into the game to help players as a result of them getting bigger and bigger ships. And the smaller the ship, the faster it moves through the overworld. Right now I'm in a gunship, so it moves pretty fast. But if this was a frigate, this would be considerably slower, twice slower, 3 times, 4 times, whatever. So I put in this fuel mechanic here. If you activate primary burn, you move faster, and if you activate secondary burn, you move even faster. And when you run out, here's the fuel gauge. When you run out, you go back to the normal speed. So the way to refuel was to just dock at a base. You would just refuel automatically. That was all great. But I always wanted to have sort of a refuel mechanic while in space, or not so much in space, but without actually going to a base. And I wasn't really sure how I was going to do that. I knew it was probably going to be a platform of some kind, maybe a ship, maybe carrying cargo pods, but at least a platform. Um, and what I thought to myself was that, well, I kind of couldn't picture it. I couldn't picture the platform, whether it would release a cargo pod, whether the player ship would dock with it, whether it would just be via comms and magic. You click a button and you just get max fuel again. I couldn't really imagine it. So actually, that was the primary reason why it hasn't been done yet. But then, every month I set aside a portion of the budget towards 3D assets. And this month, I wanted my artists to work on a refueling platform. So we got together, we brainstormed, and we came up with this monstrosity. So we kind of brainstormed how the refueling process was going to work, and based on that, this is the model is sort of a reflection of it. So can you kind of guess? Can you guess how refueling is going to work? Well, let's fly to the platform. Let's refuel. One other thing I thought about is actually really shorten this force ship mode range for this platform, so you come in very close to it. So the method I settled on was just this sort of proximity method, where you see the platform activate and your fuel gauge goes up until it's 100%, and that's it. So basically a very simple method, very similar to how repair platforms work. You also just fly into the repair area of a repair platform, and then you just get repaired automatically, and your funds are deducted from you, and that's about it. So I settled on this pretty simple method for refueling. Pretty sort of a quick method, quick and easy. Thanks to my 3D artist making this cool little asset. So this is sort of trying to be like a Tesla coil. Nikolai Tesla, if I understand it correctly, tried to, or maybe even succeeded to make wireless energy. So this is kind of the concept here, where in the future this wireless energy is good enough to refuel a ship. So these coils generate this field, and your ship picks up this field, and then is able to be refueled. So yeah, another little thing is because of this addition of this platform, I changed the icon of some platforms to be a little more specific. For example, here the icon is a lightning bolt to suggest energy. Let's refuel one more time since we're close to this base. Don't want to actually shoot it because then it'll be hostile to me. There we go, refueling. There's our Tesla coil. Fueling our ship. And let's jump away. So let's find another platform. Let's use our primary burn to travel a little faster. So this is a refueling platform. So it's got the energy bolt. Let's see if we can find some repair platforms. They have a different icon now. There's a base. Almost out of fuel. There's a defense platform. It's got the standard icon. I might actually change that in the future. Another base. There's a repair platform here. So its icon is this wrench, just to kind of make it easier for you guys. Because of the different platforms now in the game. It used to be just defensive and repair. But now that there's more than, now that there's a bunch of types, a bit of a different icon. Speaking of platforms, not a great example there, but bases will now build defensive platforms. And actually, I can demonstrate that a little bit better by loading up a save file. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Alrighty, so here we are at our base. This is a captured base that we own, and it's going to start building defensive platforms. You can see they're popping in here. Let's let it do its thing. This is sort of a modified save, so this process is a bit faster than it would normally be. And I believe 4 is the maximum that these stations will auto build. Or is it 6? It's actually 6. Alright, so what do we have here? Actually, let's just stop this shot for a second. So, yeah, our base built these defensive platforms. Bunch of turrets on them. 6 of them. So now bases, not just player-owned bases, but any kind of a base will build defensive platforms. If you have the money, it'll build ships first and then defensive platforms. It's all automated right now. In the future, I'll let the players sort of control that a little bit more. In fact, I was almost about to do that when the model of the fuel platform came in from my artist, and I kind of switched gears. Speaking of platforms, there's now these energy producing platforms and these food producing platforms, and bases will also build these to sort of supplement their economy. So this base doesn't really produce anything on its own, but now that it has these 2 platforms, it'll produce energy and it'll produce food. So right now these don't have a whole lot of stuff that they do, but in the future they'll be much more involved in the economy. For example, as a trader, you'll fly to one of these platforms in open space and you'll buy resources from them at a cheap price. Alright, so now we're docked at our base, so very, very little step in base management. Like I said, are those platforms. You can see them there. You can see that we're now producing 500 units of energy per minute and 500 units of food. We can go ahead and sell that to make money. These little buttons have been added to let you control building defense ships and defense platforms. If you want to do it manually, you can uncheck these, or if you don't want to spend any money on defense at this platform. So we're just kind of taking very, very slow steps towards more and more base ownership, base management, and sort of a greater and better economy. Speaking of base ownership, if you were wondering about this room here, this room is now available. If you own a base, you can actually go through this room here now. I'll let those of you guys that own bases take the other steps more in there. That room is not fully implemented yet, but if you take a look around, you might get a clue as to what it's going to do in the future. So if you do have a clue, if you have an idea, let me know in the forums. Have a guess. Uh, I might tell you if you're right or wrong. If you're right, I'll tell you. If you're wrong, I'll just kind of laugh. But I think it's going to be a really cool part of the game. So if you own a base, definitely go through that room, check it out. Before this room was closed, inaccessible, but now that that base ownership is possible, you can go through that room. And this next thing I'm really excited about. It's kind of funny how excited I'm about it. But gates are back. So gates are back. What does that mean? So in Void Destroyer 1, there were these things called gates, and they were a pretty big part of the story. You know, where the player had to travel through them. The player had to fend off attackers, um, kill incoming ships, help friendlies, get friendlies from them, get reinforcements, travel through them from map to map, all kinds of stuff. The gates were a pretty big aspect of Void Destroyer 1. So in Void Destroyer 2, as most of you guys should be aware, unless you don't own the game, unless this is the first time you're seeing a video of Void Destroyer 2, you travel rapidly through this overworld mode. So gates aren't really that necessary in Void Destroyer 2 as they were in Void Destroyer 1. Whereas in Void Destroyer 1, you needed a gate to go from point A to point B. In Void Destroyer 2, you can just sort of freely travel due to how technology evolved from part 1 to part 2. But still, gates are this cool thing we had in Void Destroyer 1. So, you know, I asked my artist to create this gate model based on the old gate models from part 1. I think he did a really cool job. I think it looks like a space gate pretty well. And here we are. So first thing you're going to notice is this gate is pointing a line to another gate, and that's to let you, the player, know that these two gates are connected. So if you can imagine, if you fly into this gate, you're going to come out that side. So this is another method of helping the player with rapid travel, while kind of making the overworld more and the game more interesting. So if you're out of fuel, or if you're in a really big ship right now, I'm in a little fighter, so travel is not a problem going from point A to point B. But if I was in a really big ship, traveling this distance would take a while. So it might be kind of interesting where when you're a new player to the game, you might even just ignore these gates. But the more advanced you get, the more of a need you'll find for using these gates. So I think it's kind of an interesting mechanic. Interesting optional thing. And of course, as we continue development, we'll make this more and more integrated with the game world. We'll have NPCs, non-player ships using this. We'll add missions involving this. All kinds of cool stuff. So now that I'm near this gate, I'm going to open comms with it. So Shift C, and the gate just automatically turns on. I actually had it do this based on proximity, but it's kind of problematic based on proximity for a few reasons. So just opening comms with it, Shift C will activate the gate for you. And I'm going to fly into the gate. There we go. It's going to shoot us from one area to the next. Really rapidly compared to how some of the ships move. There we go. We're at the other side. And again, we'll add some other cool stuff here. We'll have enemy ships maybe. Sometimes you're actually hostile with the military if you're a pirate. So, you know, the gate won't let you go through it via normal means, but maybe we'll probably add like an active ability where you can hack the gate and have it open up for you. That kind of stuff. We'll keep working on these sorts of cool features. We'll keep expanding. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about gates. They're going to be sort of connecting and crisscrossing different areas of space. You'll see them like all over the map once you discover them. You'll be able to use them for rapid transit, to run away from enemies, to run to defensive platforms maybe, and things like that. There'll be missions involving it, all kinds of cool stuff. NPCs will use gates in the future and things like that as they'll get more and more integrated. So I'm very excited about gates. What else? So yeah, actually, yeah, maybe the last thing is kind of a fun thing. We have a new ship. This is a military gunship that my great artist came up with based on a few different inspirations. If you know kind of what the inspirations might be, post on the forums or leave a YouTube comment and we'll talk about it. But it's got these two um, projectile guns. They fire medium military projectiles. It's got this rail gun which you don't have to charge. I think it looks really cool. It's got two defensive turrets, top and bottom. I think it's a really cool ship. So the military didn't have any gunships. Kind of a funny gap in them, since you would expect the military to have um, all the best ships. So now we fixed that with the artist. Yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, as always, guys, thank you for supporting the project. Thank you for all the great reviews. Those really help getting new players to notice the game, and they help players make decisions toward whether they're going to buy the game or not, which really helps me out a lot. So thank you for that. Thank you for the great feedback and comments and your support. Thanks for all you guys. I'm really happy that you guys are enjoying the game, that you're playing it, that you're letting me know when there's bugs and issues and things like that. Hopefully, you know, we sort them out, all of them out before release, and we'll keep working on Void Destroyer 2. We'll keep making it better. Together, we'll make the a really unique, really cool space sandbox game with real-time strategy elements. All right, guys, thank you very much. I hope you have a great day.